Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today we're going to talk to you about pellet gun speeds that are advertised on your gun boxes. And what do they really mean? Some people get really upset. I know I watched a YouTube channel where the guy was just flipping out over this. You're not getting what you're paying for, and they say this and it doesn't even do that, and I know because I put it over the crony. Now watch this, and blah blah blah. And it's like, really, you're gonna really whine that much about this? Like, seriously. I mean, they're called up to ratings for a reason. However, he was correct on something. Some companies actually will put a precise rating, and the gun will either not get to that speed, or it actually does run slightly over, so in that case you are more than getting your money's worth. But a lot of the times it does run lower than the advertised precise speed. And it doesn't say up to, it just says it will run at this speed, right? And we have such cases here today. So we're going to take a look at first the C1911. Now, I have not, actually, yeah, I think I did crony mine. I know my wife did, so you can check her channel. But velocity with alloy pellets up to 450. The velocity with lead up to 350. Now, this is a pellet gun only. No BBs in this one. So, Crossman did their job, and they got their up to ratings. And you know, the gun does come actually reasonably well within the limits. So, quite happy. My Remington 1875 pistol. Okay, check my channel for the croning results. Now, I have not fired BBs through this gun, and I don't really care to, although I might do it anyways because it is a smoothbore gun. But I prefer the pellets. But it does say up to 450 feet per second. But in this case, they didn't say which ammo can get you up to that speed. Whether it's hyper ammo or stock ammo, whether it's the BBs or the pellets, they just said the gun can shoot up to 450. Well, that wasn't very well done. My wife's Crossman Triple-Threat. This is like a 357 is what it is, with 3 different barrels, 3, 6, and 8-inch barrels. We were actually quite impressed at the speeds even out of the 3-inch, never mind the crack this thing has. Now, this thing says up to 465. Now, of course, that depends on barrel length quite a bit, as well as your ammo. It does depend on that. The Crossman 22 caliber pump up variable up to 460 feet per second. It runs a lot faster than that at 10 pumps with a standard 14.3, I'll tell you that. And that's on my channel and hers, because this is her packaging. She has the same gun as me. Witness 1911 Tenfoglio. Well, it doesn't say up to, it just says that the gun will run with steel BBs at precisely 361 feet per second. There is no up to rating. It says specifically that's what it's going to do. This box lies. Okay? Which way? Check my channel for the crony results on the Witness Tenfoglio 1911. Beeman 177 caliber from Canadian Tire. This is the Beeman QB78 in 177 cal. The box says specifically that the velocity is, in fact, 495 feet per second. It doesn't say up to, it just says it is. Now, I will say this, the gun runs at 495, it runs at 497, the odd pop over 5, but the majority of your shots are in the very high 480s to 490s. Does not drop below that until you start running low on gas. So, but it does not actually run precisely 495 even for 10 shots in a row. It is not going to happen, even with a 7.4 grain pellet. Now, with hyper pellets, this thing can really cook. And rightly so, hyper pellets, right? But even on the box, it doesn't even say up to anywhere on this box. It just says, this is the speed. That is something that Beeman should not be doing, as well as Tenfoglio, okay? The Crossman Phoenix, up to 495. Yes, it will do 495. It'll do 497. It'll do 499. It'll actually even do the 480s, very high 480s. So it's kind of a bit of a spread. It is a nitro piston. It's pretty much broken in now. And this thing, I run 7.4 grain pointed pellets through it generally. They're actually showing domed pellets, which this gun, by the way, hates domed pellets. At least mine does. 5-year warranty. Now, right here it says $495, but over here is where it says up to. Boy, did Crossman save themselves when they put the up to over here, because they didn't say it here. Okay, but there's a lot of truth in what they've said about the gun. Okay, Crossman 1077 repeat air rifle, CO2 pellet, 12 shot mag. You get about 24 good shots, and then they suck after that. It's a gas hog, but it says up to $495. Will it do it? Yes, by gum, it does do it. It does $497. It does $499. It'll even pop the odd one over 500, but then it jumps right down to about $489, $490. So the baseline for the Crony is $490s. Okay, generally not in the $490s as being $495, but it could be $493, $491, could be about $496 even. But it's pretty steady under the 500 range, which is fine. Okay, these are all Canadian non-PAL guns too. Next, we have the Beeman Precision 22 caliber, and it says the velocity is and only is 500 feet per second. Okay, it doesn't say up to. It's a Beeman gun as well, same as my other one, but it says 500. Well, I've seen a few shots at 500 out of it, but the majority of them high 490s. Okay, so that's the majority of the shots, or 490 is the baseline, so high 490s. Next gun, the Beeman, or nope, Chinese B2 22 caliber, $89 special at Ecotrex. This is a 22 caliber, and it says under 450 feet per second. Now get this, the tag on the gun, when I bought the gun, the tag on the gun on the wall said 495 feet per second. Not up to, just said 495. The box, however, does actually say lower than, because it has an arrow going that way, so that's negative, under 450. Very correct. The very first shot out of this gun over my Crony on my video is in fact 450 bang on. All other shots are in the 430 range, except for hypervelocity pellets. They were actually averaging in the low to mid 500s, with one shot, I think it was in the 4 and change area. Okay, so people will get very much fooled when they see a gun that does not say up to, and they are expecting that gun does that exact speed at least. When it does more, it's even better, but it should actually do the exact speed. Gun manufacturers should not actually be allowed to put a precise, this is the speed of this gun, when in fact it is not the speed of that gun. It is probably actually the speed of that gun, or it's higher, or it might be slightly lower. So they need to put a up to rating, okay, and specify up to on every single box. Now these are all non-PAL air guns that I buy, guys, okay? I don't buy PAL rated stuff because I don't have a license for it. And I don't want one either. There's too darn many stringent rules in Canada with this whole PAL and RPAL stuff. So I like the non-PAL stuff, and at least with the non-PAL stuff, I can go shoot in my front yard without a big deal, okay? If I had a PAL, just to take it outside of the house, do you know that you have to have a small game license? Even if you're not going to shoot anything, just to take it outside of the house and into the yard, if you're just going to clean it, or if you want to do any kind of plinking in your yard, if you can actually do that where you live. Now where we live, we can actually. But you know, it's kind of, the laws are really stupid, you know. I mean, this is Canada after all. I mean, we got some pretty wacko laws for guns. Especially our air gun laws are really dumb. I mean, we should be the same as the United States, by all means. But we are not. And that's just the way it is until things change, hopefully, for the better. Now, being said, with all these different boxes and things we went through, you will see that the majority of them actually did say an up to rating, and that's the very important part. The gun is capable of getting up to that speed. It doesn't mean it's going to do the speed. It may do slightly over. It may do under, and it almost always does slightly under. very rare occasions does it ever go within its own spec line of the even up to. Usually to get even a Crossman gun up to that rating, you generally, in a lot of their guns, you actually have to run slightly lighter pellets than the standard 7.4s in 177, and lower and slightly lower weights than 14.3 in the 22 caliber stuff that they do. And of course, Crossman also does 20 caliber guns as well. Not that many, I don't think, anymore, but there are 20 caliber guns still being made. But I know Crossman did do a number of them over the years. However, that being said, either way, Crossman, at least for the majority of the part, is actually listing it as an up to rating. And that's exactly what you should be looking at. Even if the package does not say up to, just make believe in your brain. This is actually going to be up to 423 feet per second, or this is going to be up to 361 with the 10 Foglio. The 10 Foglio may run higher. I can't remember what my Umarex does, but I've cronied pretty much every gun I own on my channel. So you can go check my channel for all these guns. Except the Triple-Threat, you're going to have to check my wife's channel because she actually, it's her gun and she cronied it. So we have crony footage of her Triple-Threat gun on her channel. So check out Susan Millard, okay, that's her channel. And look up the Crossman Triple-Threat. And, well, she doesn't have any rifles. I'm the rifle king here. But she does have a 10 Foglio Witness as well. She's got the C11. She's got the Triple-Threat. So she's got a few of these pistols. And she's got the 1322 Shooters Kit. And you could even compare her videos against my videos on the same guns, and you can see where there's a difference in even the same guns of the speeds that they're running at. Okay, so this will also show you too that not all guns are equal as far as even speeds go. And that's a very important thing to know too, that no two guns are alike. They never line up their sights the same way, they never shoot the exact same speeds, shot for shot, etc. Okay, and of course pellet weights are so inconsistent, pellet shaping is inconsistent, it's crazy. You know, this is why sometimes you can get a slightly lower velocity from one shot to the next, or a slightly higher velocity one shot to the next, is because pellet weights are out, or the skirt may be out, or the whole darn pellet may be slightly smaller, slightly bigger than what it's supposed to be. There's so many factors involved, and because of the inconsistency that goes on, you know, I mean, they don't weigh out every single pellet that they put into a tin. They have a mold, they make the mold, this is for this grade and weight of pellet, this is what they should all be, plus or minus a little bit of fudge space, right? But they have more fudge spacing than they do have correct spacing. That's the problem. And so there are people that are match shooters. They actually use a pellet sizer so that they precisely size up every single pellet, so at least the gun will run at the same speed, get sighted in properly with each pellet. However, they don't run the same speed, do they? Of course not. Well, you just said that they were sized precisely so they run the same speed. Yes, I did, but at the same time I've also said no, they don't. And because of the different weights. Like I said, you can have skirts that are so close, it's crazy. But every single pellet, if you size them up through a pellet sizer, you can get each one technically sized precisely the same. But the barrels are not precisely the same from one gun to another in the exact cut depths of the lands and grooves or the diameter of that inner barrel. Even though that barrel says 4.5 millimeter or 5.5 millimeter or 5.51 millimeter, that doesn't mean that that's what it actually is sitting at, because there's so many variables, and I explained that in my in another video actually, how guns are built so inconsistently, and that's why even Daisy, they put out a video years back, okay, and they even said that even out of a complete batch of 1,000 856s, not one of those guns will shoot the same speed. Not one of them will have the sights in the same exact lineup, even if the same person set up every single gun to shoot exactly the same bullet holes. They're not going to all like the same pellets to do it with either, okay? So you're going to find that, you know, very few of those guns will run the same pellet the same way. And because of the inconsistencies in pellets so much, you're always going to be fighting for your groupings to be very super tight. Okay, you can get them tight and very tight, but you're never going to get them all exactly the same. It's just not possible to be done. Okay, but you can get things rather close at least, which is what they say, close enough for government work is one of my famous sayings. So there you have it, and there's what you have. So if you buy a gun and it doesn't say up to, don't freak out if it doesn't actually run the speed that it says it does. Some guns will actually, and a lot of them will actually run slightly quicker than the listed speed. And I found more times that happens where they actually run slightly quicker than when they run slightly slower than an advertised actual speed without the up to rating. But I've also found that guns that have the up to rating actually do the same thing. They'll run either slightly slower or they'll run slightly faster because it's an actual up to rating. They're not actually giving you the speed or even a general speed. They're just saying you can get to this. Some will say with the use of hypervelocity pellets, as we've heard, but a lot of them don't actually say with hypervelocity. Even with Crossman guns, not all of them are going to say you need an alloy pellet to get up to this speed and you need a lead pellet to get to this speed. It does not say that on every Crossman gun, okay, as we've also seen here as well. So hopefully this helps you guys out to understand about the whole up to velocity deal on pellet guns. Now, whether we're talking PAL rated or non-PAL, it will be exactly the same for you guys with PAL rated air guns. And a lot of those PAL rated air guns where they say, oh, it's going to run this, they actually run substantially lower speeds. In fact, we have found that a lot of these guns that say they even run 600 or 650 FPS in an American version actually ran slightly below 500 feet per second consistently. Okay, so really those guns should have been non-PAL guns automatically because they're not actually running those speeds. And I've watched several videos, even on the same gun being chronated, and every single one of them ran under 500, even though it was rated for well over 600 feet per second. That is kind of something where you're like, okay, what's going on here? You know? Especially when you watch several videos on the same exact gun and they're all doing less. And the very oddball one will actually do over 500, but still is not getting anywhere near 600. Okay, not without a hyper pellet. Okay, and even American powered guns or PAL rated or RPAL rated guns, even in Canada for air guns, even they're not running the speeds that they say in the box. So there's no difference. Okay. That's the thing. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video, got something out of it. You got any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll do the best as always to answer them as best as I can. And until next time, see ya!